World travelers, what are some of the worst tourist traps you have encountered? What can be done to catch it beforehand? Las Ramblas in Barcelona. Lovely city, but everybody hypes up this one street that's crowded full of people. It's practically highlighted in every tour guide of the city, yet I still don't understand the draw. Every restaurant and shop on the street is a tourist trap as well, overpriced and under quality. It's much more worth your time to stroll around the gothic neighborhood, if the city, rather than Las Ramblas. And watch out for the pickpockets in Barcelona. They operate in large groups. Never take something that is handed to you unless you asked for it. Office-wise waiters are going to get very pissed off. The Staten Island ferry is free. If people are trying to charge you for tickets, they're scam artists. If you're traveling to New York, it's worth visiting for the views, especially considering the cost, or lack thereof. I've been on the Staten Island ferry about 100 times and I've never once come across someone trying to sell me a ticket. Where are these people even operating? You probably don't seem tourist enough. If you go to Bangkok and are on the way to the Grand Palace, you will encounter very friendly guys falsely telling you that the Grand Palace is closed due to some ceremonies. They are very friendly and are good salesmen. They offer to take you on a tuk-tuk ride to other temples for a really good price. On the way to these other temples, the tuk-tuk driver will be very friendly and tries to win your trust. After the second temple or so, he will start talking about some great promotion for a tailor that makes custom-made suits, or about some promotion of emerald sales, and will eventually drive you to one of those places. And if you refuse to buy anything, the friendliness changes. The tuk-tuk driver will just take you the next temple and then disappears after you paid him. How to avoid this scam? Be very suspicious of very friendly type people around the Grand Palace telling you that the Grand Palace is closed. The best is probably just to say thank you and not get involved into any conversation with them. I lived in Thailand for a few years. Generally speaking, no Thai person is going to approach you on the street unless they want your money. You should automatically be suspicious of anyone who does. It's always better for you to choose who you buy from. Walk up to the shop that looks good to you instead of going with someone who invites you. Hail a taxi off the street or use an app instead of going with the guy who comes toward you saying, "Taxi, taxi," etc. Thailand is a wonderful place full of wonderful people, but most of those wonderful people aren't hanging around the tourist areas. That said, I have had a couple of friends who took the offer of a 10 baht tuk-tuk ride knowing full well that they would be taken shopping. They enjoyed the sights they saw, politely refused to buy anything in the shops, and walked away from it all with a really cheap tour of the city. Don't take that guy's mixtape. Not a tourist story, but walking around SF with a coworker one evening on a way to some social event. We met some young guy selling CDs of his blues recordings. We were feeling up for some amusement, so gave him $10 for a CD. Coworker took it and told me he'd get it to me later after checking it out. A couple of days passed. I remembered the CD and asked the coworker how it was. Turned out the CD was blank. At the pyramids in Egypt, people with fake badges will tell you that you are required to pay them extra to see the Sphinx. It's included with your park ticket. Not sure if it's still an issue as it's a few years since I was last there, but we were also advised not to carry cash around the Giza Plateau and to either buy tickets in advance or have your guide get them. That was a precaution against pickpockets. Another favorite trick was to offer to take your photo then demand a ransom to get your camera back. Fiji. Walking along the street and friendly locals will greet you with Gilavinica, hello, and beautiful smiles. Every now and then one will start a conversation with you and ask you for your name. Before you know it, they are carving your name into traditional wooden spears and shields etc, then asking you for money for the work you never asked for. They will look upset when you tell them you don't want it, and they will explain that now they can't sell the item because they carved your name into it already, and they will follow you down the street reducing their price until you finally agree. Best advice: be friendly. Say hello. Don't give anyone your name. Do not go with the guy who says his friend is the owner of a nice hotel nearby. Most likely won't be nice or nearby. I fully support this, though I experienced a twist once. I was visiting Udapa outside of tourist season with my dad, and we had made a reservation in a nice hotel beforehand. When we got out of the train we got a rickshaw and the driver told us about his hotel, which was on the way to our hotel. Of course we were wary, but we checked out the rooms, which were nice and very reasonably priced, way cheaper than the hotel we had booked. Before going to our hotel and checking out the rooms there without telling them we had the reservation, we decided to take the driver's offer and had a very nice stay there. We were not directly at the shore of the Udapa Lake, but still could see it from our room and the roof terrace. And we even made a deal with the driver/owner that we would get a discount for not using the account because the available rooms with a view of the lake all had an account, while the ones in the lower stories did not. So my point is, you do have to be lucky, but it can actually be true. If someone offers you something for free, don't effing take it. They will dump it on you, make it as hard as possible to take it back, and then pressure you for money. I'm talking about how in Italy people will approach you offering a bracelet attached tight and then ask you to pay them. Also any restaurant that has watermark pictures on their menus. I was in Kyoto for my honeymoon waiting for the train on a platform. A little old lady walked up to us and, without saying anything but a smile, offered a little origami crane. At first I assumed this was a scam and tried to refuse, but she handed it to me anyway, smiled, bowed, and walked off. We watched from a distance as this happy little old lady handed out origami cranes to people for no other reason than it made her happy to do so. I felt a little guilty for being so inherently distrustful, but I kept that crane for the rest of the trip and still have it to this day. Rome's touristy areas are unbearable. Every single popular site or place features the same mob of sketchy and all around annoying characters. Friendship bracelets, fake petitions, fake charities, shitty toys and souvenirs. You can't take 2 steps without somebody trying to hassle you. The Vatican isn't even immune to this. While approaching it, you still have scammers dressed in outfits to trick people they are part of the staff. They basically scam elderly and others into believe they bought the wrong ticket. We joked that the Vatican felt like Hollywood Boulevard, but religious. Then, on top of all of this, the food around these areas are scams as well, designed to trick gullible travelers out of their money. I ate the best pasta I've ever had in Rome, and I've ate the worst. Don't get me wrong, I love Rome as a whole, but man do their tourist areas suck. Remember the guys dressed like gladiators around the Colosseum? Most restaurants in Italy are very good. The key is just avoid any restaurant within 100 meters of a major tourist site or any restaurant with menus in 6 languages, and go to places that look local. In Turkey, shoeshine operators accidentally dropping the brush in front of you, then offering to clean your shoes after you stop to pick it up, followed by charging an extortionate price for the job. Unlicensed cabs. Always use a registered company, especially for safety, never mind financially. A lot of countries have Uber equivalent. Philippines has Grab. Bali has Bluebird too. Always agree to a fare before the car starts moving. If you're a young guy and some attractive women come out of nowhere thinking you're cute and asking to go to a bar, don't go. There's a very common scam where they'll start ordering ridiculously priced alcohol for you all night. You only find out at the end of the night when you get a bill for hundreds of dollars. Very common in China, Beijing. Specifically, a young woman will approach you and start asking you things in English. FYI, random Chinese people will rarely approach you for anything, let alone young women who are English speakers. Oh, she's a tourist too, but from another Chinese city. How interesting. Let's go to drink some wine/tea together. Obvious scam. But you get approached relentlessly if you're a white dude with no woman. Never got approached with my girlfriend around. What they do is they take you to an establishment that they work for and order a bunch of overpriced things. When it comes time to pay, the bill is extravagant, and they usually have a big guy or two to intimidate you into paying. Was aware of the scam before traveling, but it was still fun to tell these girls to pee off. Prevalent in Shanghai as well. First night I got there, I was really tired after a long train ride from the airport, but I decided to check out the Bund since it wasn't too late. My hotel was nearby, barely walking down East Nanjing Road. I got approached by 2 or 3 different pairs of women trying to engage a conversation with me. If you're in a crowded area and anyone approaches you saying, my friend, just keep walking. This happened to us in Times Square. It happened so quickly we didn't have time to react. I heard hey, girl. And next thing I know, someone in a cheap Minnie Mouse costume has me by the shoulders. Elmo and Cookie Monster are holding my fiance by the arms. And Mickey Mouse has my phone out of my hand, taking our picture. I swung my arms back and grabbed my phone from Mickey, but they created a circle around us demanding money for our photo being taken. My fiancé threw $5 into the air and we ran. For whatever reason, it was really jarring, and we finished our adventures for that day. I like to start telling this story to friends and family with the title The Time We Were Mugged in Times Square by Minnie Mouse and Elmo. If you go to Rome and visit Vatican City, on the way to the Vatican, there will be people trying to sell you tickets. As the queues are very long today, they say that every day, all day, every day. Ignore them. You don't even get to see the Pope. I arrived in Rome Wednesday morning and headed straight to the Vatican, since my room wouldn't be available until 3 p.m. The hotel held my luggage for me. All I wanted to see was Piazza San Pietro. Just so happens the Pope speaks there every Wednesday. Not sure about now with COVID. This was a couple years ago, so I got to see the Pope too. And it's free to get into Vatican City to wander around on your own. You have to have your belongings x-rayed and walk through a metal detector. But it's a good way to kill some time. There's also a trailer right next to the entrance where you can send postcards from Vatican City. I didn't. Look up exchange rates before you get there and use ATMs inside bank branches. There are companies who operate ATMs in airports and train stations who just want to take advantage of confused tourists by offering them exchange rates and setting the default amount for withdrawal too high. In Prague, for example, some ATMs have as their default withdrawal amount the equivalent of a month's rent. Was just going to mention Prague. For one thing, never exchange money through people touting it in the street. And even some of Greg's seemingly legit bureaus de change are dodgy. For Brits in particular, Western Union charges a different rate for Scottish and English issued banknotes. Even though they are exactly the same currency. The ATMs at the airport used to be okay, but lately I've noticed the new bank of ones they have at arrivals are doing the trick of offering the default withdrawal as a ridiculous amount. Always research currency conversions first and if possible, use the local ATMs from the banks like Eskaspoitelna or Kommerkny Banka. They will either automatically switch to English when you insert your card or they'll give you the option. S also usually gives you a choice of what denomination notes to get, so you don't end up stuck with a 2000k note that everyone is going to glare at you for.